Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liliana, and on this channel we discuss history and literature related topics, so make sure to subscribe if that interests you. So today we are going to be talking about a topic that I am pretty sure has plagued mostly every college student ever to exist. And that is, how do I pick out a research topic for my final paper or project? This is always hard because there are so many factors that you have to take into consideration. The thing that I want to do doable considering the amount of time and the resources that I have available is the topic that I want already taken by someone else. Will my professor approve of the topic that I want? And of course, if I already have a topic picked out, am I going to be able to make an argument based off of it? Am I going to be able to find the evidence to write about it? My favorite issue, of course, is the one that I encountered when I was taking a class on the history of California, and that was my professor asked me what I was thinking of doing for my research project. The issue is that whole time period in the class when he had been talking about topics that were allowed for a research project, I had not been paying attention, so I just latched on to the one thing I remembered hearing him say, and I said, you know, I'm gonna write my paper about pants, and he allowed it. And now that paper is going to be what I am going to be presenting at a conference in like 2 months. And that experience is part of the reason why, as I've said before on this channel, that obscure research topics is my middle name. So now, after rambling on and giving you all of my random and weird little anecdotes, let's get to the real stuff. So the first thing that you want to do is obviously think about the class that you're in, because that'll direct your ideas for your project. For example, if I'm taking a class on Chinese history, I'm not going to write about musical traditions in the US, and the other way around as well. If I'm taking a class on US history, I'm not going to be writing about the Chinese political system. If your class isn't about a specific region and it's more focused on a broader concept like war or trade in the 17 to early 1900s, obviously, likewise, your research topic should focus more on something that fits into those categories. The second thing that you have to do is think about what attracted you to that class. I know that sometimes we're in classes that we don't like because it was the only class that had open seats and we need the class for a GE or something, but if this wasn't the case for you and you picked out the class yourself, think about what drew you to that class or to that topic. Had you already had a previous interest in that region or in that subject? Was it something that you knew nothing about? Is this just your favorite professor and you want to take every single class possible with them? I know for me, when I wrote my paper on Chinese theater from the 1940s to around the 70s, I picked that topic because I had a great interest in communist propaganda. I had just watched a movie about the one-child policy in China, and I thought it was so interesting how they included propaganda in things like children's shows and commercials, in the wrappers of food, and I knew that I wanted to write about something related to propaganda. I also knew that in the previous semester for earlier Chinese history, I had already written about theater, so I already had kind of a working understanding of what Chinese theater was like and what the main components of it were. So get the one topic that most drew your attention throughout the whole semester and start there. Now that you have a kind of general idea of topics that interest you, think about, what questions do I have about this topic? For me, with my topic about Chinese theater, since I already had some previous information, my main question was, how did the Communist Party in China use this traditional form of art to send their message to the general public? Your question can't be a yes or no question, because if I had asked a question like, did the Communist Party in China use theater to promote their ideals, then the answer would be yes. There wouldn't be anything for me to write about or investigate because the answer is very cut and dry. It's yes, they did, but I can't really make an argument about it because it is an indisputable fact that they did it. We have our main topic, we have a general question that we would like to investigate about this topic. Usually this is the point in the class where your professors will ask you to write up a research proposal or to tell them what you intend for your topic to be. and they will approve it or disapprove it. They also usually have some kind of assignment tied into this where you have to provide potential articles and sources. Prove that you already looked up, you did some basic research on the topic, and there's something for you to go on. If they approve you without knowing that you already found some stuff to work with, they don't want you to come back a month later when the due date is like this close and say that you can't find anything to work with. Now, as far as actual researching goes, I do have a video on 5 research tips that you need to write a paper, which I will link at the end of this video. For now, I'm going to walk you through my process of finding some sources for this research project. So I am going to say in advance that this project that I'm going to be researching for is a little bit unusual. Well, it's not your typical research paper where you have the question and you find evidence and you make your argument. This research paper is kind of more focused on teaching the students how to find evidence from as many different sources as possible. Part of the instructions is to find information from all of these varied sources. You have to find a photograph, a movie, a piece of artwork, a book, a song, artifacts, maps. So you can see that we're really getting kind of that exposure to all of these different types of sources. And even though it is a little bit different, that's why I'm purposely picking this specific assignment to show you guys, because it has so many of these different and varied sources. And I want to show you guys how I'm finding them. So as always, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is going to JSTOR and looking up articles that relate to my topic. I like to do this before looking up things like artwork or music because I feel like these articles often reference certain pieces of art or music and can direct me to other sources. So I'm going to do that first. And I have already typed in my topic of pastoralism. So let's look it up. Wow, 17,782 results. We are going to have to narrow that down. And of course, I have a really broad topic. I only used one word. I used pastoralism. So the first thing that I usually do is click here on journals, because that'll give you specific articles as opposed to chapters from entire books. But sometimes chapters are good too, but I prefer articles. I don't really care about any publication date. And then as for subject, here we can see we have all of these different types of subjects in alphabetical order. So I'm going to pick the ones that I feel are pertinent to my topic. So now I can see that after I did all of that, I now have 2,000 results approximately, which is more manageable than the other one, but it's still a lot. So I'm just going to kind of quickly scroll through and see if this is what I want. Okay, you guys, so I have been struggling for a little while finding the primary sources, primary written sources especially, which would be kind of diaries, letters, etc. But I decided that instead of just focusing on that one aspect of the project, I would just kind of make this one Notion page where I'm just gonna compile and dump all of the sources that I can find, and I can worry about sorting them to the various categories that have been assigned later. So as you can see, I have all of this right here. I have some links up here as well. I do like the way this Notion page is set up, where I can put the title of what I'm doing here and then the files and citations and all of that stuff. I think it's a really nice way to organize my research. So for now, I'm going to take a break from finding all of those 10 sources because that's kind of a lot of work. And then I'm going to move on to part 2, which is looking for images, as it says right here, a photograph that relates to the text sources listed above. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to try to look up a picture of pastoralism that I think suits my topic idea and my argument for my thesis, and try to run with that. So let's see how that goes. So what I ended up doing was I just kind of went on to good old Pinterest and I looked up some very idyllic kind of cottagecore type photos, and I decided that I would go with this one, and that is what I'm going to use for number 7 on my research proposal. Now we're on to number 3, and that is painting, cartoon, and other non-photographic image. So for that, I'm just going to do the same thing that I just did with the very cottagecore Pinterest type of picture, except I'm going to do it with a painting, and there are a few that I already have in mind. Again, I just basically typed into Google pastoral art and I came up with a list of paintings, and I picked one that I liked. And I picked this one, which is Cole Thomas's The Arcadian or Pastoral State. And I really like it because you can see some people here and there, but they're not like really big and they're not the main focus of the image. And then even back here you can see some ruins of what's supposed to be like some ancient Greek architecture. So I think this works well for what I'm trying to do. So this one was a little bit more difficult. I had to find some quantitative data such as statistics to back up my claim. And since my topic is literally on an art form, that was kind of hard to do. I decided that what I would do to fulfill this requirement would be literally just to look up cottagecore on various social media websites and then display how many posts there are using that hashtag and the popularity of them, which I think is a pretty statistical and numerical number in and of itself. Part 5 is a map. I am literally just going to look up a map of Arcadia in Greece and post that, because this whole idea of pastoralism stems from poetry that was written about this region in Greece around 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. So the next portion was to look up an artifact that had to do with your topic, and I decided that I wanted to use those really popular little porcelain figurines that were popular in the 1700s in Western Europe. And I looked it up on Google Arts and Culture. This part is to describe a film, and I just looked up movies that take place in the 1700s, and I got Emma, that was written by Jane Austen and has been in several movies. I haven't watched any of the movies that are based on Jane Austen's books, and I haven't read Emma, but I looked at the trailer and it makes sense and it fits into what I'm trying to capture, which is the aesthetic of this era. And I'm pretty sure if I just summarize the overall plot, it'll be fine, right? Haha, question mark? I'm sure it'll be fine. So now that I've done all that, all that's left is for me to kind of take some time and summarize my topic and my thesis, and I am not going to show you guys that part because I kind of want to surprise you all with this research project, because I am super excited for it. I'm really invested with it, and I kind of want to make another video about this research topic just because it's like so weird and random, and I think it would just be fun to take you guys along with me as I do this research paper. So I am going to close the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you can see whenever I post my next video. Bye!